Hello and welcome back to the Songs or Spells podcast, presented by me, Karlyn King, global freelance music lecturer, published author, speaker, tarot reader, you name it, I do it. This episode is a really special episode in that it was our first live show and it was recorded at BIM Manchester with wonderful artist Phoebe Green. So Phoebe is described as a northern pop powerhouse, chameleonic pop, devastating alt pop and next level stuff, with NME calling her soaring and glamorous pop that stands out from the crowd. She is awesome, and on this episode we talk about everything from therapy, tattoos, manifesting, and our love of BoyGenius. So let's dive in and listen out for the students asking questions throughout. Welcome, Phoebe Green. Welcome
Hello.
to the Songs or Spells podcast.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for doing this.
You're so welcome.
We were discussing this and thinking who would be the perfect Manchester-based person, and it really is you, just with everything, your song titles, things you've talked about in interviews, your tattoos, your vibe, everything. So I guess my first question for you then would be, are songs spells for you?
Oh. Interesting to think about, for sure. Do you mean like in a manifestation sense, in like a healing sense?
Ooh,
What
all
are
of
we
the above.
talking? I'm gonna say I think my songs are definitely a means for me to process things.
Cool.
So I guess in that way, definitely. I write a lot from experience, so I think that they definitely are.
Yeah, absolutely. So it sounds like you use music as a form of almost therapy or
For sure.
catharsis. Yeah, has that always been the case for you?
Yeah, absolutely. I think my head is always so full and I always need a way to like let some leak out sometimes.
Yeah.
And I think writing all of the stuff down really helps, and I don't know, I guess it's nice to just have like a product at the end of like going through a really hard time.
Definitely, yeah. And that people can connect with and resonate as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's great. So when did you start writing music?
Badly, when I was like 12. I wrote some really awful songs when I would fall out with my sister. And then properly, I'm going to say when I was like 15, I started writing. When I was doing GCSE music, I wrote my first proper song. I was just about to break up with my first boyfriend, and I wrote a song about it in like 20 minutes in my class, and my teacher was like, wow, that was quick. Are you going through something? I was like, yeah, it's really serious.
What was it called?
It was called Lost.
Lost?
Yeah.
Perfect. I bet it's a banger.
It was, the first line was, I broke the last part of you that wasn't broken. That is brutal. Like, are you joking?
So it started quite young for you then.
Yeah,
and were you someone like me? I read so much as a child, like voraciously. And for me, that was a big kind of escape.
Yeah.
And
I think I definitely read the standard, like Twilight and Hunger Games and stuff. But I don't know. I find it quite hard to read. I think when I want to consume something that's not visual or like to listen to, it takes me, like I really have to concentrate. But once I'm into a book, I'm really into it.
I love it. You got a favourite?
No,
there's loads.
No, I don't remember anything I read. That's an issue as well. Like I'll read a really good book, be obsessed with it, tell everyone about it, and then the next week I'm like, I cannot remember what that book was.
Oh, yeah, it resonates. Yeah.
Yeah,
because I thought that because of the way that you write so succinctly, your lyrics are so precise and super self-aware, and almost like really raw as well. And I thought, I bet that Phoebe reads loads. And
I feel like I read a lot, just not necessarily books.
Yeah.
And I feel like I've been on the internet since I was like 10, so
yeah,
I just have consumed a lot of words.
So I wanted to ask you about your lucky tattoo. Lucky me, right on the front of your hand, because people can't see it on the podcast. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, I think I first got the idea for it because it felt like it's kind of ironic and it's kind of not. Like, I think it's such a way to keep myself in check when I'm really feeling awful about something, because I think it just reminds me like I'm actually a very lucky, privileged person. Like, it, not to invalidate my emotions or whatever, but like circumstances are pretty good.
Yeah.
So I think I just wanted something that would remind me of that. But then also, it's like, haha, look at me. I don't know. Like, it just feels funny sometimes.
Because obviously it's the track as well.
Yeah.
So it sounds to me like you're practicing gratitude.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I really try
Yeah.
very hard to do that.
So for me, like, that is the foundation of all, like, spirituality, self-development, witchcraft, whatever we want to call it, self-care. It's gratitude.
Yeah.
Have you ever read The Secret?
Yeah. See, I remember that one. I remember that. Yeah, I think my mum got it for me when I was quite young, and I remember reading that. And yeah, I really love stuff like that.
Yeah. So that is like the foundational text.
Yeah.
Law of attraction. So yeah, you believe that then? Do you believe you get what you give, get what you put out?
Yeah, definitely.
All energy?
Yeah, for sure. I think, well, I was thinking about it today a lot, actually. I think with gratitude and stuff, like, you're always going to feel like you're missing something if you're not accepting and appreciating your current reality. So you're always going to feel like a lack of something. So why would you want to live like that? Like,
yeah. And then you'll get lack.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. Oh wow, you're living the law of attraction. I love it.
Yeah.
So do you think that this has played out for your career then? Do you think you've used this?
I think so, only because I've talked about this career for my whole life and I've never had a plan B. Like, I've just always, like, ever since I was so small, been like, well, I'm going to be a singer and I'm going to write all of my songs and I'm going to do all this, and just I've always talked about it like it's something that is going to happen and just never really doubted it. And I think even if I wasn't successful from it, I would still be doing it anyway. So I think it's just lucky that it's worked out well.
Lucky, yeah, to use that word again.
Yeah.
But also, there was no doubt in your mind.
No.
And that is what they say is good manifesting, right? When there's absolutely no doubt in your mind whatsoever. You ask, believe 100 billion%, and then you receive. It sounds like that's what you've been doing all along.
Yeah.
Whether knowingly or not knowingly.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like it started completely unknowingly. But
yeah.
That's
amazing, and that's great advice. I watched some videos about Billie Eilish talking about this as well. So cool. Billie Eilish is really into this, and she said that when she goes into the kind of lack or scarcity mindset or the negative mindset, which is unavoidable sometimes, let's be honest, we're human, things happen. Like, she fell and hurt her leg and then couldn't do her tour and stuff like that, and that really frightened her. She was like, wow, I need to really watch my thoughts and my mindset. Yeah,
definitely, because I think as soon as you slip into that, you start behaving in a way that is like just assuming the worst about everything. And yeah, obviously if you're internalizing it and if you're then just like continuing that cycle, then obviously you're not gonna, I feel like you really need to ground yourself sometimes and be like, no, don't slip into it, because it just such a slippery slope.
Have you got any grounding practices that you would recommend?
I have a lot. I've done a lot of therapy, so
yeah, same.
Yeah, like I think a lot of the things I have been practicing recently are acknowledging when I'm at my most secure and like connected to myself, and then thinking of like the physicality that comes with it. So like how my body feels in those moments, my beliefs about myself in those moments, and then like writing it all down and then trying to connect with that in my own time when I'm not in like a anxious place, because then it just becomes second nature. And then when I am anxious, I get really anxious in like public transport places and stuff. Like I just hate stuff like that, and I'm like, oh my god, I look so weird and everyone thinks I'm so strange, and like I just try and tap into that, like, no, well, think of last week when you performed this festival and you were so confident and you were so happy, like that is still, you're still that person right now. So
wow, that's so strange, because I really had that after COVID, after the lockdown. Would feel like I would be on a train or something like that, and it would be like it was going too fast and it was going to crash and stuff. But I guess it was because I hadn't been on transport for 2 years. And it was really bizarre, and I had to really ground myself down and be like, what, you've been on a million trains and buses in your life, it's okay. But yeah, loads of people have told me that that's been a kind of COVID aftermath.
Definitely. There's
so
so many weird like irrational fears have come to be from that period. It's just,
Do you think a lot of it is obviously living with that overarching fear all around us, and the way that I mean, I was terrified at first.
Yeah.
That it's just created a global consciousness of fear.
Yeah, I think so. And I think especially because we were in such a time of like, we were so alone with our thoughts, you could just make things so much bigger than they actually were. And then when you're put into an environment where you just feel like anxious energy around you, it's so hard not to get like consumed by it.
Do you think you are an empath? Absorb?
Yeah, but I think like to the detriment of myself in so many ways. Like I think there are ways for it to benefit you, and there are ways that it can just absolutely destroy your self.
Yeah.
But yeah.
That must be quite difficult as a performer. Like, are you absorbing the audience vibe?
I feel like I am, yeah. And I think that's why I find it really difficult to hide when I'm not having a good time sometimes. Because, like, if I'm on stage and I sense that people are just, like, really apathetic, I think I find it quite difficult to, like, I don't know, like, bring myself out of it because I'm such, like, a reflector. But, yeah, again, I just need to, like, not do that.
Choosing another thought.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, kind of. And that's what therapy teaches you, right? They do it on a more like basic level, like just choose a different thought, blah 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 blah. But I think when you're more spiritual, you know it's more about like energy.
Yeah.
Like you said, going into your body and changing the physicality and things like that.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's so cool. So, do you have any other witchy practices that you do?
I have such an obsession with the full moon, like just the moon in general.
Yes. Also, it's a new moon today. Just saying
that.
that.
Oh God. Okay.
Well, we're conducting this.
I really need to do some stuff. But apparently Phoebe means goddess of the moon, which is really cool. But when I was little, there would just be like one night every month or so where I would just be like uncontrollably crying, and my mum would always be like, what is wrong? And then she'd be like, oh, it's a full moon. And I'd just be like, is that really, like, that seems ridiculous, like there's no way. But then like I think because obviously the moon controls the tides, and I'm a water sign, and like,
what sign?
Yeah, I'm Scorpio.
Fellow Scorpios in the room.
We're awful. It's such like I don't know, it feels like a very turbulent sign, but I just feel like I have just such an attachment to the moon. I just love it.
Yeah, so water, the tide. They even say that when it's full, our bodies have more water as well in them. Like,
that's probably why we're
that's
crying.
Insane. Yeah, totally. So yeah, new moon today, which is a great coincidence.
Yeah, I love that.
I really, really love that. So yeah, a time of resetting like your intentions for the month ahead, lunar month ahead. Cleansing the space and stuff like that as well. Have you got anything that you would like to bring in next month? I
feel like I've subconsciously today done so much resetting, and like I do a lot of intention setting on quite a regular basis, I think, because I don't know, I'm kind of drawing to the end of like my album cycle, and I really just want to try and bring in so many new energies. And yeah, it's such a strange time of like reinvention and trying to figure out what I now want to do with my career and with myself. But I'm really wanting to go on like a big support tour this year. Ooh. So that's what I'm trying to like work towards.
So would you go specific, as in a specific person that you support?
For sure, but I have so many, so I find it quite difficult to like pinpoint one, because I don't want to focus on one and then not get the chance to like work with someone else.
I see what you mean. Yeah. So one way around that, I've been told, is to do like this or something better. Or
like something better suited.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's quite a good wee way around that, so you're not kind of blocking the other things.
That's what I'm also conscious of. I don't want to. I remember like at one point when I was like desperately single, I would like write like one person's name down, and then I'd be like, that is so weird. Maybe don't do that. And then I was like, what if this is blocking like anyone else from coming into my life? And then I just stopped doing it altogether. Yeah, it's worked fine.
And what happened? Did someone else come in?
Yeah, now I have a girlfriend and we've been together for a year.
Yeah.
So,
So what was for you,
Yeah, exactly.
came to
Exactly.
pass
Yeah.
when you let it go. I've heard it being called like controlling manifesting, where you're like, just this, no one else, just
Exactly.
this.
And I'm such a controlling person anyway, so
Oh,
I think I find it quite hard to go with the flow. I'm like, what flow are you talking about? There isn't a flow. Like, you make the flow.
that needs to be a song. There isn't a flow.
We interrupt this broadcast to bring you Spellcast, your weekly astrological guide. So, August has 2 full moons, one on the 1st, one on the 31st, and the Lionsgate portal on the 8th, 8/8. So, this is a powerful, powerful time for manifesting. And if you want to learn more about how to manifest, just as Phoebe's talking about, come and join us on our Patreon, where we have special weekly episodes on just that. The link is in the bio. And on the 31st of August, it is a very rare blue moon. So the vibe is unpredictable. Expect the unexpected and dream big. Now back to my chat with Phoebe Green.
Who do you admire?
I have quite a lot. I think the first band that comes to mind, just because they've just released an album, is BoyGenius.
Yes.
They're amazing. Great band. Muna, another amazing band.
Yeah.
Tyler, the Creator, is like a huge influence for me.
Cool.
Yeah, I feel like they're the ones that come to mind first.
Amazing. Are you going to go and see BoyGenius?
Of course. Absolutely.
Is it Halifax or
No, I'm going to the London one.
the London one?
Yeah.
I
So then
think
I get to see
everyone
Muna as
here is
well.
going to
Like-
that as well. Yeah.
I can't wait. Yeah.
Amazing. Just their voices together are
Oh, I
just
know.
like incredible and
Insane. So
It's
good.
a vibe. They're definitely a coven, those three.
Oh yeah,
Definitely.
Oh for sure.
Like, I need
they
to get
all
them on
have
the
matching
podcast.
tattoos and like everything. Like that's so. Yeah.
So are we manifesting that then?
Oh yeah.
Maybe you're going to support them
Yeah.
at some
I
point?
literally the day the gigs were announced, because it said BoyGenius, Muna, Ethel Kane, and then to be announced. So
You.
I immediately sent it to my agent. I was like, please, like I am begging
my
you
God.
to put my name forward. And he was like, yeah, you and every other person in the world is
Oh.
asking for this. Like, no, he did say that, someone else said that. But yeah, I was just like, please, like they're my favourite band. And they're like, yeah, well, they're everyone's favourite band.
They really are.
Exactly. But I'm just like, come on, that'd suit me so well. So
It'd be perfect.
yeah,
Actual perfect.
I would love to do that one day.
Oh.
Yeah.
Do you know, I've even heard of people doing things like, doctoring that, a poster like that,
Yeah.
and kind of putting your name on the poster, like photoshopping it on.
That is
or
so smart. I think my
Oh.
friend, one of my really good friends, Nell, she told me about her vision board.
Oh,
and like
yes.
she loves her vision board. And I think we were doing this like Instagram live thing or something, and she was like, yeah, I put you on my vision board and then you asked me to be on your tour, and I was like, no, that's so cool.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
So have you got a vision board?
I have a board. My printer isn't working. Otherwise I would have pictures on there, but I just have like lists of things, and then I guess just random manifestations.
Yeah, because I use Pinterest for it. So
I
then
should
at least
so do that. I don't know why I didn't think of that.
You've got it on your phone, so
Yeah.
you can just look at it on the bus or whatever. And
That's
Yeah.
that's a good idea. I'm gonna do that.
yeah,
Probably tonight, actually.
Yes, it's a great thing. Last year I put a picture of Beale Street in Memphis on mine, because I've just been wanting to go there like forever.
Yeah.
It just seems like the home of music, really. And like my dad spent a lot of time there, and
Oh,
I was like,
cool.
I need to go. So yeah, it came to pass. The opportunity did come
That's
up.
amazing.
But I did, like you said, you went and asked your agent.
Yeah.
Like I did take the inspired action of saying, right, how can I make this happen? And it just so happened that there was a music event in Nashville that I was
cool.
asked to speak at. So
That's amazing.
yeah, and it's 3 hours from Nashville. So
Amazing.
I
That's so
actually took the Greyhound bus into Memphis and took a picture of like the picture
Yeah.
on at the same place at
Oh,
the
that's
start of
so
Beale Street.
cool.
Yeah, and then I
Nice.
had like the two side by side, like this works. This works, people.
That's
And
amazing.
yeah, so see when things actually come to pass for you and you're like, I've created this. Do you ever feel sort of like, I wish everyone knew about this?
Yeah, definitely. I think especially when people just like if I hear people kind of like just speaking things, saying things as if like they are absolutely never going to happen, I'm like, why would you put that out there?
Beliefs.
Like, why?
Go away.
Why would you do that? Like, just say that it is. Like, it's not embarrassing if it doesn't happen. It's like more, it's worse that you're shutting it down before it's even had the chance to like. Yeah.
And you can really see it play out in people's lives, and you're like, oh my God.
Exactly.
Like,
Yeah. I just think it is so, it can influence your behavior and your actions so much, because I think even if I'm trying to manifest something, like I will still do everything in my power to make it happen. Like it's not just like sitting and waiting for something. Like you're still pushing yourself to achieve a goal. Like,
totally. That's so important. So there's no law of attraction without the word action.
Yeah, exactly.
I've read that somewhere. Yeah. So you've got to actually take the steps and be bold enough to do it as well. And I think the more results you see, like the more you do it, don't you? You kind of, and then it's bigger things. And
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just want everyone to know about this stuff, because I mean, I feel like it was the way of life, and then it was kind of cancelled out by bigger structures. Should we pass over for some questions?
I have a question.
Yeah.
It's a bit big, but basically
fine.
for my dissertation I'm researching about the condition of artists based in the Northwest. And I found this statistic by the UK government that says that the highest rates anxiety and depressions are in the Northwest.
Wow.
And if I remember, where are you from? Blackpool?
Yeah.
Is that correct? Yeah. And I found that that's the city in the country with the highest rates of suicide.
Oh my God. I'm shocked.
So I'm kind of researching if this environment, the artist based in this area, if like this, you know, these rates are not specific into artists, but what I'm trying to understand, if this mental health issue in this environment, does it reflect in artists as well? Do you think in this area they struggle compared to, I don't know, London or other areas for opportunity or challenges or sources, stuff like that?
Definitely. I think especially when it comes to like just thinking about artists in different areas, like you are almost told from the second you start out, like, well, you will have to move to London eventually. Like it's never, you're celebrated for being northern, but then it's like they want you to be northern somewhere else. So it's just like kind of, it's just like you're not taken as seriously until you live in London. But I think it's really something I'm finding difficult, because right now I kind of want to move to London, but I don't know if I'd be that happy there, because I love everything about Manchester and I love being a northern person. Like it's so ingrained in me, and I think it is very interesting to look at the amount of opportunities, but I think luckily in Manchester, like opportunities are becoming so much more, which is a relief. But yeah, I think at first it definitely is a struggle with, I don't know, I think with shame as well. Like people are quite quick to dismiss you when they hear like a northern accent, and they like think you're like a joke, and it's just you're just not taking it seriously. But I think it is changing a bit. I hope. Yeah.
That's going to be a great dissertation.
Yeah, I'm trying to understand. But you mentioned accent is one of the factors.
Yep.
And, background, working class.
Oh yeah.
And as you said, I found that many artists have to move there, and once they move to London, they feel alienated. They're trying to fit in, but they don't have family, friends, so it's hard.
Yeah.
And the whole infrastructure, like labels or magazines, is all down there.
Yeah.
Exactly.
There's need to be more. Manchester, as you said, it has a lot of opportunities, especially for live acts, concerts. But maybe regarding labels or other things, there's more that need to be done. Not just Manchester, so like Liverpool,
Yeah, definitely.
stuff like that.
The thing is though, we're in a society where everyone will watch everyone be really eccentric on TikTok, and they'll celebrate people who go on these talent shows. Yet if you're in the street doing it, you're a weirdo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're an actual weirdo.
Yeah.
But if they're watching you on a screen, you're the best.
That is
thing
so
ever.
true.
Funny,
Yeah.
brilliant, aren't you funny? But if they see it in real life, they're like, something's something's wrong with you.
Yeah.
So I think Manchester has a high rate of people being themselves, being their true selves in the street.
Yeah.
That's very true.
People think it's eccentric, and the more they get put into then that mode of, why is nobody getting this? Everyone's out clapping at them, and when I'm in the street doing it, everyone's got something wrong with you.
I think as well, it's like people are so afraid of real life connection and like interacting with people, so it's just like it's so much easier to
on that side of the screen to say, oh, he's brilliant, she's brilliant, they're brilliant.
Yeah.
What top people will see him in the street and be like, reject.
Yeah.
Because, like you say, you find it difficult to make connections. And start, when it gets down to it, see your own reflection in everybody else.
Yeah.
Oh,
Absolutely. No, that's so true.
I get rejected of somebody else. Somebody else rejected themselves through me on a daily basis.
Oh, for sure.
And because you understand it like that now, it's becoming a lot easier.
Yeah, and everything is a projection. Like,
wow. It's mirroring.
Exactly.
I was going to ask you about, because you'd mentioned that you were quite interested in the idea of like gender and sexuality in the creative industries. I teach that module, so yeah.
Cool.
And you talked about marketability.
Yeah.
So we literally had a lesson today on this very topic.
Oh, cool.
And we were looking at the way that different artists have been dissected in the media. We looked at Lana Del Rey.
Yeah.
Megan Thee Stallion gets all sorts of abuse for being tall. How dare she be tall?
So weird. It's
Being
so
a tall
weird.
woman, that's terrible. You know, Lana's weight has changed, and someone tweeted, "This is worse than 9/11." Like a picture of her weight gain.
Oh my god.
And she has had an eating disorder, so she's
What is
obviously
actually wrong with people? Like,
maybe in a more healthy place now,
Yeah.
potentially. I don't know her personally,
Yeah.
but yeah, she got really trolled for that.
that's insane. Yeah, I did see, but you don't even want to like look at stuff like that. It's so ridiculous. Like, but again, a projection, obviously, of people's own insecurities. Like,
Boom!
it's pathetic.
We are putting the world to rights here.
Yeah, for sure. But no, I think I've had quite the journey with gender and sexuality, and I think I'm in a place now where like I accept myself more, but find it harder to market myself. And I think obviously when you start off as like a young girl in the music industry, it's like, how can I make people like me? And you're fed the idea from such a young age that it's like, well, you need to be able to be sexualized for starters. You need to be digestible for a wide audience, and you just need to be likable. And it's like, well, homophobia exists. Like, there are so many elements of myself that I felt like I had to suppress because I was like, well, I'm a people pleaser. I want everyone to like me. Like, I want that validation. And like, I don't know if people are still gonna want to listen to my music if they don't understand me as a person. I think I have such a complex about being misunderstood and like, I think I'm just trying to work through now, like finding my own audience and not trying to, like, you're never going to appeal to everyone. And I think I find that difficult because like I just want everyone to like me, but then it's like no one is super famous and has no people disliking them. Like it's not how it works. So I think I just need to, all I care about
Baby Yoda.
Yeah. Literally. Exactly. That's so true.
Yeah, and is that something that you've obviously worked through that lyrically as well?
Yeah, absolutely. I think as well, like, it's even making the first move of like using different pronouns in songs and like just like the initial steps of being like just being afraid of the rejection when you're trying to accept yourself, like being rejected by someone else then just makes it 10 times harder to accept yourself. But I think I'm fine, like I'm in a stable enough place now that I'm like, I don't actually care.
Yeah, and do you think that that's come from these kind of practices we've been talking about? A lot of it.
Yeah, definitely. I think realizing who I am when I feel my best is always when I'm being my most authentic self and not trying to just be likable. Yeah. Like, yeah.
People just connect, don't they?
Yeah,
with
exactly.
Authenticity. I think that people can smell bullshit, basically.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Probably on a kind of subconscious level, they're aware that it's not real. Yeah, they like people who are real and present a real story that maybe they resonate
is definitely, I feel like music's becoming more of that as well, which is really good. It's a narrative, there's a dialogue that's out there. We were talking today about Karen Carpenter and how she was a drummer, she was a really good drummer, and then she was kind of pushed to the front to be a vocalist, which she wasn't that comfortable with, even though she's a great vocalist. And yeah, it was marketability, wasn't it? It was the fact that she was the woman in the sibling pair, and it kind of like destroyed her, and just how horrible that is. And there was no discussion around it, and things like, you know, her eating disorder and stuff like that. There was no real open dialogue. It was just, oh, she looks quite good, and then it was, oh, she does look quite thin, and that was kind of it. There was no, maybe this woman's unhappy or unwell, or I went on a bit of a tangent there. Just because we were talking about her today, and just how sad it was that just a more of an open dialogue maybe would have helped.
Definitely.
Helped her
and
in some way.
Just the fact, like, in general, that because she was a woman, they were like, oh, well, people are going to want to look at her, so make sure she's visible
up front,
and visible in a way that is appealing to everyone. Like, it's not just visible is not enough. It's like you have to be visible and conforming to what the audience want from you. Like, I think that's what I found super hard, because like I, especially when I'm like, I just feel a lot more androgynous now. It's like I don't know how to, well, I don't want to sexualize myself, and I think people have a problem with that. Like, it's just, well, it's such an industry where it's like sex sells, blah blah blah, and I think I just find that whole thing fascinating, because I'm like, well, what if I don't want to? Like, what if that's not for me? And I think it can, I don't know, it can definitely make you think that it's harder to present yourself, because it's like, well, then who am I trying to appeal to? And who am I like,
who's my audience?
Exactly.
Who do you think your audience is? It seems pretty broad to me.
I think that is true. Like, I noticed when I was on tour, the audiences were so diverse and so unpredictable, which was kind of great.
That's
like,
awesome.
I really loved that. But I think, especially with marketability now, people really want to find their like core fan base and market very specifically to them. And I think I also struggle with that, because I'm like, well, there's not just one kind of person ever. Like, that does not exist. So,
totally. That's so interesting. I mean, have you had sort of labels and execs, try and push you in a certain direction, or?
I wouldn't say push, but I think a lot of it is probably internalized as well. Like, just societal pressure, and I don't know. I think it is just an industry where people are pushed to present themselves a certain way in order for the music to sell, and because of like platforms like TikTok and all of that stuff, people have to look at you now, and it's like, it can't just be like an art form. Like, it has to be visual, and if people don't like the visuals or whatever, like, they have to go hand in hand. And as much as I love the visual side of things, but I don't want it to necessarily be me all the time and in a really like stylized way, because then I think you can lose, especially if the music is so vulnerable and so like heart on your sleeve. It's like, I don't want it to be so, what's the word, like stiff, like
that's cool. It seems like you're just pushing boundaries left, right, centre.
Trying to.
So what would be your last words? Last words of wisdom? For anyone that wants to follow in your footsteps as a trailblazer.
I would say that don't try and imitate anyone, because they already exist for a reason, and people like them because they're unique. So if you try and be someone else and not yourself, you're just gonna be another someone else. Like, I think just try and be your most authentic self, and try and reflect it in everything you do, and don't try and conform to what you think people want, because
it's not going to work.
Nope. That's so true, because I had a friend, and you know, she's done a lot of the reality shows and stuff like that, but she was very much imitating like Florence Welch, her vocal style, and it was very obvious. And I remember saying to her, like, I think it would be really cool if you could sort of carve out your own sound.
Yeah.
And then lo and behold, all of the people on those shows said the same thing.
Yeah.
And she's still looking for it, like she's still grappling with that. So it's a journey, right?
It's hard, especially if like people that are fans of the original person are always just going to be like, well, you're just a bad version of this.
Yeah,
like,
pound shop version.
Yeah, exactly. So there's just no point.
Wish
Yeah.
a bad imitation.
Oh my god. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, totally. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having
this
me.
chat. It's been so beautiful and so aligned. Just everyone that's on the pod. Like, we've had some great people. We've had Idols on.
Oh, amazing.
Had Aurora, Glenn Matlock, the original Sex Pistol, Chelsea Wolfe, Witch Weaver.
Yep.
So I just feel like everyone who's took part is meant to have been taking part, and we're just one huge coven now. So yeah,
For sure. Yeah.
thank you so much.
Thank you.
It was so great to speak to Phoebe Green in a live setting with the students about absolutely everything, how we're marketed in the music industry, how amazing BoyGenius are, our favourite coven, how to vision board, how to work with the moon to bring in what you want and protect yourself as an empath. If you haven't read Secret by Rhonda Byrne, as we mentioned earlier, you must read it. It's incredible. And my personal favourite is her book called The Magic, which is a 28-day magical practice all about gratitude. It will change your life. If you've got any law of attraction tattoos like Phoebe's Lucky Me tattoo, please let me know. Reach out to me on Instagram at Karlyn L. King, at Songs Are Spells Podcast, or on our TikTok at Songs Are Spells. And I'll see you next week.